Okay, everybody listen. Everybody listen to this real quick. So a lot of people are talking about Planet X. Planet X Nibiru. Nibiru. Okay, Nibiru. The word beer means well. Okay, well. And the word Nibiru means Jesus. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about the plume serpent. Quetzalcoatl. Okay. So, watching these guys, they're putting stuff about Nibiru. Okay. You know, we know about Nibiru. Nibiru. We're not worried about it. We're not worried about the destroyer. I know my brother. Okay? So when it comes, will cause great cataclysms. Possibly. Possibly. This is the destroyer, the fire. Okay. Now the Hopi know about this. Okay. They're going to talk about a pole shift. The Hopi know about this. Okay, so this is a winged disc. This isn't your typical planet, so to speak. Okay. This is a living thing with wings, okay? With wings. So, for those concerned with stuff like this, I would not be, okay? Because I was watching this guy's channel here, and he's like pushing so much fair and everything. And, if you're not spiritually fit, if you don't have spirit, because everything is spirit, everything in this world is spirit, okay? If you're not fit, that fire is going to destroy you. Okay, that's why they call it the destroyer. Marduk, the dragon. Okay, the dragon. Okay, so also, this came around at the time of the Exodus. Okay, so this is Anunnaki type stuff. Yes. I'm not scared. I have no fear. Because I know the truth about Planet X. I know the truth about that divine cross. I know the truth about it, what was the cause of it, and I'm not scared of it. It's under control. Trust me. For those who are living, okay? For those who are living right, did you hear Mike from around the world? Okay, so if you don't know Mike from around the world, Michael is a great guy. He's just a great teacher, a great man of God, and says just the way he articulates is just it's above it's above it's above the normal person. So and he knows that, and Mike's very special, okay, and I love Mike, and I love listening to him, you know, and Mike has warned people, okay, for a long time that this is coming, okay, so we know this is coming, we know that this is coming, and it will bring, things, okay, um, but it won't hurt or harm you if you're living in the spirit. If you got that fire burning, this is the destroyer that God tests you and puts you through the fire as silver or gold is tried. This is that fire. It's needed to purify the bad things of this earth. You understand? It's needed to purify those things. Just like the blue star, okay, is needed to refresh those things and renew those things, okay, and bring cleansing to the world, okay. So I don't want nobody to have any fear, because let me tell you something. The book of Malachi. Now, see, Michael was saying in that video, okay, that this destroyer is God's destroying angel. This is a messenger. This is the this is death. Okay, so to speak. This is the Punisher. Okay, but for those, this is the Malek, so to speak. The Malek. Okay, so for those living in God, for those having the Spirit, for those, on fire, you're not going to be hurt by the fire. Okay? And this is what this messenger brings. Okay? So this is what it says. The day comes that shall burn as an oven. You hear that? It's going to be hot. And there's going to be fire. And there's going to be testing. And if you aren't ready for that fire, you're going to vanish. Okay? So, behold, the day comes that shall burn as an oven, all the proud, yes, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that comes shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Okay? It shall leave them neither root nor branch. Okay, so those trees, they hide behind, they eat swine's flesh. And he's also talking about men being trees and their roots being burned up. Twice dead. Plucked up, dragged down, burnt down, uprooted. Okay? But to you that fear my name, shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go forth and grow up as the calves of the stall, and you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I do this, says the Lord. So what he's saying here is we go up, they go down. Okay, they go from being, the kingdoms of the world go from being theirs to being ours. This whole thing gets flipped. And he says, remember you the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded to him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming and great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Now notice he's saying this in the Old Testament, in the old land, before they enter into this new covenant, the new land, and the New Testament, okay? So the job is here is to reverse the curse that has fallen upon this earth, okay? So when you fear God's name, this system, this destroyer, okay, that can come and destroy enemies and burn up, spirits, so to speak, test spirits, test men. The same way, if you are living godly, this same winged planet, I'll tell you what, it will rise with righteousness and healing in its wings. Okay. So we know in Exodus, okay? So the Lord said to Moses, oh yeah, we're going to talk about the stardust. Stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness that may be felt. And Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was thick darkness in the land of Egypt 3 days. Okay. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Okay. So the same way Exodus is the same way Revelation is. Okay, it's set up the exact same. Okay. So this is the Passover. This is what this guy's trying to say with Nibiru. Nibiru is the Passover. Nibiru. Okay, so just a little bit of information for you here. This is the divine crossing, the planet of the crossing, the sign of Jonas. Okay. So this is an unseen planet as well. They can't tell what this planet's doing, where it's at. It comes, it goes, it hides. It's there, it's there, it's there. You know. So so you know, Planet X. That is. So we're gonna go back to this again. So I'm gonna have to go back to this again with what I was just showing you. Okay. What I was just showing you. This is the throne of God. We know that God rides upon the chariots of the wind. He makes darkness his thick covering. And an angel took the censer, filled it with fire of the altar, cast it into the earth, and there were voices, thunderings, and lightnings, and an earthquake. Okay? So that isn't doing it for me. Okay, so this is pretty cool here. So is Nibiru planet Christ? Anna asks. And what is she saying here? Well, I tell you what. Is it a world within a world? That's interesting. Is it the throne room of God in heaven that sits up in the sky? Is it the diamond on the river, so to speak? The pathway of Nibiru passes through the diamond. What was I just saying about the book of Thoth and the diamond? Okay, Revelation 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay? So the conception of the Son, of the Son, of the Son. So is it a second son? So by allowing cosmically conscious scientists pick the time in the comments, we get a specific message synchronized with the consciousness, which amplified the rebirth of intuition. The message was spot on with the regard of the gateway of men and the transit of Venus and the turning of the age as represented in the birth of Christ, Isaac child. And they're saying most importantly the Mithra child. Okay, so Mithra, if you don't know, so a lot of people, secretly worshipped. Okay, deity they secretly worshipped. Okay, Mithra's child, the same being as Dionysus, the same being as Saturn, the same being as the son of Saturn. I mean, Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter and Saturn combined, probably with Venus. Okay, so the Isaac child was the story of Christ. Also, so the latter two are father sons. Isaac was okay. I don't know what they're saying there. I don't know what that means. Okay, so here's Venus here. Okay, the Mithra child is shown in the Alpha and Omega scene. So the Mithra really is Christ's real name is Michael. So the real name for Mithra, okay, it's kind of like a mix between Michael and Ra. Okay, it's shown in the Alpha Omega scene. The U shape is an illusion caused by the way the objects in the hands of Mithras blend with the inside edge of the Omega monument. Okay. The object on the Virgo hand at Mithra's left is a torch. The object on the Gemini hand is a sword. The body in the split shell and the two hands say, I came, I saw, I conquered. Veni, Vidi, Vici. So this is the birth of Sol Invictus, the Christ child according to Mithras. Okay, they're saying Nibiru had to be killed without any new messianic children to become the master of the turning age. The Mithras and Horus stories were merged with the David and Phaeton stories of the Kavayat, the masters of the turning age. Turning of the ages would be killed by his own people as the age began. In the monument showing Mithras turning the zodiac, we have to think in terms of tuning of the ages. The Mithras child is shown holding in his left hand a ball laying in Scorpio just beyond the Sagittarius boundary. That is the place of the center of the galaxy, the cosmic womb. The child's right hand is at the Gemini Cancer boundary. This would mean that the Roman Mithras was to be Sol Invictus. As the ages moved to the summer solstice into Gemini, Mithras was to come see and conquer the orb of the material world at the new age. This was the age of cognition. She thinks. Thought could conquer the universe, mind over matter. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this stone. Okay, we're going to talk about this white stone. Okay, so you see this X right here. We're going to talk about it real quick. So the ball is at the winter solstice of the end time. This is the winter solstice on Earth, aligning with the center of the galaxy, or the implied end of the journey of the Rock of Ages. The time for the end of the journey, okay, they're saying here, is October 23rd. So yes, this planet does come around late October, okay, 1998, plus or minus, okay, several weeks. So that all those numbers add up to, okay, 10. Let me see, 9. These numbers add up to 69. So that is when the vernal equinox bottoms and the winter solstice passes through the gateway of the gods. And the boundary of the ecliptic and the Milky Way in Scorpio, Lust, Vene, Vidi, Vici, is the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. Clearly, Mithras had to be defeated because of the astrology of Mithras was the theology of Persian pirates, the Greeks, Egyptians, and Jews, who were the people from Mesopotamia, okay, who denied the Zoroastrian Mithra and the Roman Mithras, okay, had to defeat this male conquest religion. This is a point that rationalists cannot comprehend. Rome was a theocracy operating under a code of silence for which revelation was a death sentence. This is interesting. So, the victory came with Constantine and the mother's son, Jesus, and the book of Revelation, which did not reveal the truth to infidels. A stroke of cosmic genius. The Christians were of the same traditions which gave birth to Egypt and Greece, but they rejected the idea that Hellenism was pure women's intuition. They understood the difference between intuition and rationalization of emotion. The Mithrasians are the best understood as mafioso, the crime family mindset that evolved in Italy after the defeat of the Mithrasians. However, the Mithrasians' mysteries were essentially the Persian astrology of Zoroaster, with the exclusion of women and children as practiced by the Dagon cults, okay? Be a man, don't be a baby. The problem with the turning of the age from Aries to Pisces is that it required the letting go of the I am and the acceptance of the I believe. Okay, rational people cannot let go of what they know. So the Mithrasian solution to the biblical age of Aries was to shut the mouths of the Magi, which they did with force. The Romans nailed Christ to the cross, and Mithrasian means they fixed the meaning of the stars. Huh. That's interesting. Like Newton and Einstein, after them, they forced material science, nails to confine sacred science, spirit, to keep the mind and body on the surface between air and water. In other words, the Mithraeans taught boys how to walk on water. They had to, for they were building a one world order that required a leap of faith greater than any come before in the history of civilization. They were establishing Olympus, Jerusalem, Nazareth, and all the places in heaven, accordance to the word of God, which was the science of truth. The Romans had nailed it. It was cosmic truth, the Christ child. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest, the same year said unto him, You know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, that the whole nation perish not. The story could not be believed if it was told as the Egyptians, the Zoroastrians, the Greeks selling out their king. These cultures were long gone and known to history. That meant the chosen people, the theological masters of the turning of the age, would have to be the Jews. But by Jews, the text meant all the people of the prior age. It was also expedient that the Septuagint Bible was in print, only true book of life. This left a huge opening for one group of people to adopt the book of life as their history book. This gave birth to modern rabbinical Judaism, which did exist prior to Constantine. Okay, the bulk of the Mesopotamians were now without a code. They could not accept the Greco-Egyptian New Testament nor the Hebrew Torah of the Septuagint because of the way the Mesopotamians were handled. After all, the story came out of Mesopotamia. Mithras had been defeated by the New Age cultures had in their own books. Thus, Mithraism Mesopotamians who were left took the Vici, spirit of Sol Invictus, and extracted the icons to complete the rationalization of the Dagons. Be a man, don't be a baby, with the extraction of the false trepidation that Mesopotamians believed, described as a procession, and they rejected the rational astrology of the Zoroastrian Romans. They killed the sun with the lunar calendar. The crescent star in Islam is in spirit a solar eclipse. The culture that resulted was ancient Islam with a lunar calendar as its guiding light. The culture taught a rational science with Arabic numbers and residual Greek sciences. Then in the 1250 period, they were wiped out by the Crusades, which weakened them to a point where they could not defeat the onslaught of Mongol hordes. The rest is written in history. So the astrologers succeeded in amassing the greatest empire in landmass. They were the followers of the Khans. The important point of all this is the turning of the ages have been essential to all cultures, far more than one complete precessional cycle. According to the Egyptians, the sun had set twice where it now rises. And the Aborigine records exceed 2 complete precession cycles. It tells us that we were given the Christian story to avoid the bloodshed over the jihads of the New Age of Pisces. Revelation and Joshua tell us that the sun would be stopped for almost of a day. A day is a period of enlightenment in a single house in the zodiac of this time frame. And the king of Ai, he hanged on a tree until evening time. As soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take the carcass from the tree, cast it at the entering of the gate of the city, and raise her on a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day. Look at the heap of stones under the Mithras child above. I can't see that. And the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. This is not written in the book of Jasher. So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hastened not to go down for a whole day. In other words, the death of Christ is a Jewish tradition that rabbinical Judaism has not understood or simply hidden since the turning of the age. This is a parallel of the death of Osiris. The death of Osiris. And with Joshua 8:29, know that the entering of the gate where the king hangs in a tree and lays under a tree, the same tree upon which Jesus was crucified, in which grave he arose. So this tree, okay, is very important. The secret of the cross is the tree. So Christ's name is the plant. It is the tree. You know, you are a tree. You are a plant. Okay. So also the name, same tree under which Hagar placed Ishmael. It's a small world after all, she says. So the new Kuiper Belt object KBO 2004 DW. Again, I believe it was you who. Okay, KBO was on the cross of the planets, the heart of Hydra, under the Leo Cancer boundary. See the serpent head under the navel of the mistress child. Okay, I realize the head of Mithras is at the Leo Cancer boundary. What the ancients are telling us is that Alpha and Omega would come between the head of Hydra and the Leo Cancer boundary. This King of Kings is a man child who can overcome subliminal emotions and pride to be a sensibly rational, cognizant being. The star point of the zodiac circle is the Leo Cancer. This is the same statement made in the icons of Dendera Zodiac. The zodiac is to be read at the beginning of Cancer, ending at Leo. This is why Mithras is the Alpha and Omega. Okay, so the sequence is so perfect that it has to be logical intent. The sacred names of the 12 house describe the process by which a man child, which means a rationally cognizant being, can get into the kingdom of heaven. The mundane name sequence is Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, and Leo. The instructions are the sacred name sequence, which is I feel, I think, I have, I am, I believe, I know, I use, I see, I desire, I balance, I analyze, I will. Each stage gives birth to the next stage, perfectly developing sequence. Reversing or changing the sequence will lead to emotional oblivion or rational tyranny. After the journey has been cycled 3.5 times, the initiate will be at the center of spiritual fulfillment, balance between Mother Earth and maternal material existence, and Father Sky, paternal spiritual intent. So the Maya illustrate their kings on the third step and the sixth step place. The Jews and Romans push on to the seventh step as Godfather. Joshua circled the city 7 times before the walls came down. The seventh cycle is the final cycle in a 6-step place where all begin at the material plane. The reason why the pagans recommended 3.5 cycles was for the sake of balance. It restores the imbalance when one overshoots and becomes the 8th king in a greater creation than God. The Jews and the Romans advocated pushing the limits so the true boundary could be found. We find this behavior typical in masculine dominated cultures. So they are really pushing the masculine power here. Okay, so the implication of the transit of Venus on June 5th, 2012. This is what the Maya was talking about, okay? It represents a mother dominate condition, okay? So the great mother, our loving mother, our mother, okay? So I'm going to get into the Seeing Gospel of Peace, which talks about the great mother, okay? In this place, in our mother. This place is love and intuition above dominating rational cognition. You see, so it's all about love, and the female spirit is going to win through, okay? So it also explains why it's easier to get a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. A rich man has most abundance that God, and it is difficult for a rich man to be humble. Listen, I don't have nothing. I'm not rich. I have nothing. I actually have, yeah, I have nothing. But anyways, the centroid of the orbit of that KBO 2004 DW was in Apophis and the Benben near the end of the river. Okay. So this is the ancient serpent in the sky, which John Anthony West was talking about. Okay, which is depicted, in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, and the serpent they think was a comet or something they would see coming by. And we know that the Ben stone is the 13, the Ben which bridges heaven and earth. Okay, the Ben stone. We know that that's missing too. So it was Tiamat. So we know that Marduk defeated Tiamat. Okay. Thus, the KBO at the heart of Hydra represents the return of consciousness of Tiamat. But at Hydra, she is the serpent lifted up in the wilderness to Leo and Cancer boundary. The heavens show the lifting up of the serpent with the transcendence of Sagittarius at Antinous on Aquila via serpents in the hand of Ophiuchus. You know, the 13th constellation that they lied about. The father of many nations, to the good shepherd of the Elysian field at Virgo's outstretched arm. The implication of KBO, okay? So it's interesting. This is K and then BO. Okay, so BO means boson, okay? Boson. Okay, we know about the Higgs boson or Boaz, okay? Or Boaz. And the DW, I'm not going to say what that means, but feminine spirituality is returning to Mesopotamia to restore the new Rome, the new Jerusalem, as the prodigal son became a man. So when Ur is set free, the sons of Abraham will live side by side. Jerusalem will lose many of its best entrepreneurs. Okay, since it was the American sons of Zeus and Isis that freed Persephone and Ur, the people who saved these sons of God by a process of denial and delayed gratification deserved to be given first crack to the new Ur. So we know the city of Enoch is Urdu. So the Jews are now the prodigal sons coming home to Ur. The father's sons are the Muslims who stayed in Mesopotamia, but David is not returning to claim the ancient land. Rather, it is the son of David, Jesus, who will be the salvation of Abraham's people. Thus, Jesus is the true Messiah. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so a crystallized dwarf star, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. BPM. Okay, so 3793. What's that? 33. Okay, this is interesting too. Okay, so Tony sent me a link to Lucy, the dwarf star in Centaurus. Okay, are you a Centaurian? It was clear from our previous discussion Centaurus was a great player in the crossing of the river Styx. Okay, or the sky. That river ends at the Benben, which is at the centroid of the KBO orbit, which is found in Hydra, which is where the falling waters led away from the kingdom of heaven at the Leo Cancer boundary. This is a dual sign that the location of the Jolly Roger and the Dream Serpent meant the sunboat was about to come off the rocks where Joshua placed the body of the king of Ai. Note that Mithra is shown turning the age on the pile of rocks in the middle of all this. Okay, so Mithra is coming out of a cosmic egg in the middle of a stone omega with his body and a two-headed serpent forming an alpha as discussed above. So she's talking about the Starbucks symbol. We know that that is Isis. That is a symbol of Isis holding on her head the star, Esther, the star, Okay, so all these events are connected to the transit of Venus across the sun on June 8th, 2004, and the occultation of Venus by the moon on July 17th, 2001. Okay, so the temple of Venus was destroyed by the symbol of Islam, and the ancient serpent of the sky was restored with a diamond on Nibiru's orbit. When two comets come into the scientific consciousness as the Passion of Christ, Okay, so she's saying all this transitioning that we're going in, that we started at the new millennium, okay, was the birth of Christ, the turning of the age monument, the book of Joshua, as well as the legend of Isis and Osiris. So the woman clothed in the sun, travailing to give birth to the man child. In other words, a dream serpent is being lifted up in the rational wilderness. The birth of Pisces was postponed to allow the restoration of the rock of the age. So they're talking about cosmic consciousness. This is the cube. So this is the end times of the gestation of the baby. The baby's name is Horus, Zeus, Mithras, Hunahpu, Itzhak, Jesus, and all the other sacred names associated with synchronistic cosmic consciousness of the great year. So she thinks that this star is Polaris. Polaris sits above the earth all day and night. We're at the moment of the arrival. So the woman clothed in the sun. So she's saying a lot of interesting things there. The second woman she's saying is the sacred cow Hathor, the mother of the sun in Egypt. The third is the daughter of the bitch man have called Mother Nature or Mother Earth. Three women will appear in a straight line through the sun, suggesting that we would be far better off, okay, if they stopped playing with Mother Nature. I agree. The woman is the one that wanders through the heavens, waiting upon a star to announce the coming of the kings of kings. She measures time's journey by the wanderings of Mother Earth. Mother Earth has been travailing to give birth to a man child on Judgment Day since the day Pisces began. And George is this. Okay, the association with man and the sun means that this is the sun man, or the soul man, or Solomon. Okay, so she said, and then I'm just a medium for the cosmic world that is coming from the cosmic mother about the birth of the child of the cosmic father. What is the child's name? It does not matter. What matters is the spirit of the cosmic child. This because that's the thing. What you don't realize, what people aren't realizing is in the Planet X, okay, Planet X, Nibiru, okay, the blue star, Kachina, whatever you want to call these planets, okay, they're spirits. They have a spirit to them. Okay, and that spirit is called Re Sun, okay, Ra, or Sol Invictus, the Aten, Yahweh, so many other names that they can't count them. So she's saying we are being asked to trust the cosmic mother when we can be the cosmic child. Ego must die. When a shell is broken, the eagle can learn how to fly. This is very interesting. So that's very interesting that she said all this, okay? And trying to find these Mithra pictures that she was talking about. Here's some pictures of Mithra. Okay, here's Sol Invictus. Okay. Invictus. We'll read a little bit about Mithra. So some people say that this is Maitreya. There is no Maitreya. Okay, that's a lie. I know that Ra, or whatever his name is, the Aurelian guy. They were saying he's Lord Maitreya. I don't know. No. Okay, this is Zoroastrian, Yazada, Covenant Light Oath. Okay. The Waters Light Oath. Here's Assassination of Mithra. Okay, the etymology of Mithra, it means that which causes binding. Okay. And it's also a word of covenant and an oath. Okay. He's the guardian of waters. Okay, so I'm not gonna get into all this stuff, but so I'm not gonna get into all this, but anybody that watches this, they can look this stuff up. But I wanted to go to this. This is what I was talking about. So you want to talk about so Nibiru. So we're gonna talk about it. Planet X. So notice that X, because that X is so important, and I'm gonna tell you why it is. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why it is. Okay, so here was a really good video on this. So I hope this person doesn't mind that I shared their video on here. I find it funny that this guy who this princess or goddess is coronating. I find it funny that you know he's got the black bird on the back, but at first glance it kind of looks like that face, that smiley face in the sky. So I find it fascinating, okay, in the 5th century, okay, that this person brought this from Ireland, okay, that had been carried from Ireland from Judah in 586 BC. That's an interesting date to me. It really is. So this is also called Jacob's pillow. Okay, so he laid his head on it. He saw the ladder reaching up to heaven at Bethel. He had a dream. God promised Jacob that his seed would generate the line of kingship to follow, the line which in due course became the Davidic line. Okay, so when the Jews were persecuted by Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, Mattaniah, the son of King Josiah, a direct descendant of David, was installed in Judah, known as King Zedekiah. So 598 BC, 12 years later, Jerusalem fell to Nebuchadnezzar, whereupon Zedekiah was taken to Babylon and blinded. So we know that Zedekiah had his eyes put out. Okay. So here's the thing. Eyes wide shut, we still see, right? So his sons were murdered, but his daughter Tamar was removed to Ireland via Egypt and Spain. The prophet Jeremiah, the son of Jerusalem high priest Hilkiah, he also brought the stone of the covenant that became known as the Leah Fa'il. So I'm just wondering if Tamar was Queen T, okay, in Egypt. So I'm just wondering if Tamar has anything to do with Queen T that has to do with Akhenaten, okay? So Princess Tamar gave her name to Terah, the seat of the high kings of Ireland. She married Iraama, the prince of Scythia, the father of Ardre, the high king Ariel, the ancestor of Ugain Mar, Ugain the Great. Okay, so the Columban tradition. So we know the Column means the dove or Jonah. Now remember that planet X is the sign of Jonah. So this stone secretes stuff, okay? So the abbot prophesied that one day the Michael, okay, the Melchizedek, the Christ, okay? See, they know, this person knows who the Christ is and what his real name is, okay? And what his inheritance is. So, it is of importance to note that the X sign, so you'll see this in Orthodox churches. You'll see, this in some churches where these, you'll see the archangels, you'll see Michael holding, a ball in his hand, and it has an X on it, So this X sign became so hated by the Roman Church, and it was identified with the archangel Michael. Okay. So like I was telling people, this is Michael Zadok, Melchizedek. Okay, the heritage of Michael was the dynasty of high Zadok priests, a heritage that prevailed in the Messianic line. So you see there the X, and it looks like there's a sack right there. Maybe this is and the grail right there in that cup. Okay, that cup. Okay, that Joseph put in Benjamin's sack. That cup, that holy cup. Okay, that Nebuchadnezzar and them were drinking out of. Okay, that Joseph put in Benjamin's sack, in the Ben. Okay, so you'll see the Maya. The Maya, they depict this guy, okay, carrying on his back. He has a bag. He has like a sack. And on it is the Ben stone. Anyway. And here we go. This person took the words right out of my mouth. The chalice and the sword. This is the Ben stone, which is a 3-step pyramid. This is the most sacred artifact. Now hold on here. Now hold on. So this has been described as being made of a meteoritic ironstone. Now see, King Tut, he has some interesting stuff from meteors and stuff like that. So I wonder if this is connected. So it was the measure. Okay, this is the missing capstone which the builders rejected. The completion. This is also the Stone of Destiny, which Hitler was looking for, along with the Ark of the Covenant. So I was just looking on Zohar, whatever, the Zohar Gate channel on YouTube, and they were talking about these Stuarts, the Stuart bloodline. There's a beautiful, beautiful sister of mine. She says, I am black but comely. O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. God bless this sweet woman. Okay? So there you are, my friends. There you are.